apps. And there's no catch. It's great. We make money from apps. They don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on mobile and desktop today.
If your thyroid eye disease was diagnosed a long, long time ago, you may think your eyes will be bulging forever, like a never-ending curse that can't be broken. But even if you've been told it's too late, treating your thyroid eye disease may still be possible, and a new day is within sight. Learn how you can give your eyes a fresh start at stilltreatted.com.
The suspect in the 1996 shooting of star rapper Tupac Shakur made his first appearance in a Nevada court today for his alleged role in a fatal Las Vegas Strip drive-by 27 years ago. But here's what I'm really interested in about this case. The only reason this guy was arrested in the first place, in a case that's been cold for nearly 3 decades, is because he was arrogant enough to run his mouth off, apparently, on TV over and over again, talking about his role in Tupac's death. Duane Kefiti Davis was supposed to be arraigned today, successfully argued for a delay. He'll remain in custody until at least October 19th, his next court appearance. But Davis, a self-described gangster, seemed to forget that there's no statute of limitations on murder. And subsequently, the 60-year-old inexplicably decided to go on a publicity tour over the last 5 years, writing a book, talking about his role in Tupac's death to a lot of different people.
But it wasn't until 2018 that this case was reinvigorated as additional information came to light related to this homicide. Specifically, Duane Davis's own admissions to his involvement in this homicide investigation that he provided to numerous different media outlets.
And being a self-described gangster, you'd think Duane might remember the phrase, snitches get stitches. But I guess he was only snitching on himself.
Judge just ducked his head. The first bullet in his head, then the next one's hit him. It's like he was going to break dance, try to jump in the back seat or something. We pulled up to the stoplight, and he was making a right for about 17 cars. He just pulled up in the other lane. Seen it. Yeah. And I further shot him. People were in the head. I thought he was dead.
I thought he was going to pull my son. You know, that's what I meant. One of the guys, man. You know, he pulled on when he shot him.
So you were fitting the blast you guys too, or you were just...
Yeah, we could have been on my side all the time.
Okay.
He leaned over and another girl on the roof.
After seeing those clips and more, on July 18th, police got a search warrant for Duane Davis' Las Vegas home. They seized multiple computers, a cell phone, hard drive, titled Documentary Documents, and a copy of Davis's 2019 tell-all memoir, Compton Street Legend. An excerpt from that book even said, quote, "There's one thing that's for sure, when living that gangster lifestyle, you already know that the stuff you put out is going to come back. You never know how or when, but there's never a doubt that it's coming." Well, apparently he didn't take that to heart. Police eventually arrested him, believing that he participated in the hit, that he may have even handed the gun to the shooter seconds prior. As Davis somewhat described, on September 7th, 1996, Tupac got into a fight in a Las Vegas hotel with L.A. gang member Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, and Anderson's uncle is Duane Davis. 3 hours later, Tupac was a passenger in this black BMW being driven by rap mogul Suge Knight down the Las Vegas Strip. Stopped at a traffic light, a car next to them pulled up, rained bullets on the car, striking Tupac 4 times. He died 6 days later. Duane Davis was arrested this past Friday, 27 years later, in charge of murder. Joining me now, someone who knew Tupac very well, Layla Steinberg, Tupac Shakur's first manager. Layla, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. When did you first hear the name Duane Kefiti Davis?
I can't even remember when I first heard the name. I don't think any of us that were close to Tupac or understood the complications and dynamics of this case are surprised. Justice can take a long time, and I think how you started out was very relevant. My father was a criminal defense attorney for years. He eventually became a judge. And he always said 85% of convictions are because people open their mouths, so they tell on themselves. And here we are. So that's definitely been a backdrop in my journey, is to understand the accountability and responsibility one has, and one's voice. So,
Yeah, have the people around Tupac always suspected, A, that it was him, and B, that he would eventually get arrested?
we definitely knew that there was a connection to gangs in LA. We definitely have looked at everything from police transparency, that this case was in a city that has more surveillance than you can imagine next to London, that how could something on such a public street with so much going on still have taken 27 years? So I think there are so many layers to this conversation. I think we will be talking about it for years. For anyone that understands the justice system, and this is all a conversation around justice and accountability.
Layla Steinberg, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Coming up, those weight loss drugs like Ozempic, all the rage. They're big business. Doctors pushing for Medicare to cover them, cheaper, more widely available. What the media often isn't telling you is that many of those doctors or celebrities quoted about how awesome it is are being paid by the company that makes the drug. Coming up.
We are telling the story of people's lives.
Just ask what is on the hearts and minds of everyday Americans. And when you do that, you have the most honest, raw conversations.
Morning in America. Tune in at 6/5 Central on News Nation. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take one daily, Jardiance. And each day I'm going on. It's easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body, so flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too. Jardiance may cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to a sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction, and don't take it if you're on dialysis. Taking Jardiance with the sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is a really swell little pill with a big story to tell. Did you know sweat from stress is actually smellier than other kinds of sweat? That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It provides 3 times stress sweat protection. Danielle? Secret works.
Pretzel fanatics are freaking out. Give your taste buds a twist. We at Pretzels.com freshly bake over 45 varieties of chef-crafted gourmet pretzels in the heart of Pennsylvania. Get a new twist for someone you love or yourself at Pretzels.com.
What are you doing? I gotta hit the bathroom. Right now, that enlarged prostate has you going frequent. Yeah. They hit like. Ask your urologist about the UroLift system. UroLift is an outpatient procedure that reopens the channel to increase flow. It can help you empty your bladder so you can stay on track. Get fast, simple relief while preserving sexual function. With no cutting.
Ask your urologist about UroLift. Most side effects are mild to moderate. Serious bleeding and infection events are rare. Visit urolift.com.
Call 800-851-2200 today.
As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. Learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov.
It's time for news about the news. Sling TV has the same news programming you love, starting at $40 a month. It's the same news programming you love, starting at $40 a month. That's what I just said. Right. It's the same news for less, starting at $40 a month.
Works hard in hour 1 and twice as hard if you take it again the next day. So Betty can be the Barcode Beat Conductor. Must be more than our allergies. And for fast allergy relief with a powerful decongestant, try Zyrtec D.
Diabetes can serve up a lot of questions. Like, what is your glucose? And can you have more carbs? Before you decide, for the Freestyle Libre 2 system,
Know your glucose level and where it's headed. No finger sticks needed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence and lower your A1C. The #1 doctor-prescribed CGM, Freestyle Libre 2. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
If your vehicle isn't under warranty, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, it's going to break down, and you'll be stuck with a repair bill that could blow up your budget. Unless you have an auto protection plan from Everything Breaks. Our protection plans cover the expensive items that your auto insurance doesn't, like engine repairs, transmission, AC, computer systems, and more. Plus, our plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, free towing, free trip interruption, and free rental cars. Plans from other providers can cost between $100 to $200 per month. But with Everything Breaks, you can get the critical coverage that you need with plans starting at less than $1 a day. And if you call right now, your rates will be locked in, guaranteed. If your vehicle is out of warranty, call us now and get protected before it breaks down.
Call 1-800-374-4456, 1-800-374-4456.
Popular weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are everywhere. Ads on social media, TV, celebrities boasting about the benefits, doctors pushing for insurance coverage. But behind all the media buzz over these weight loss breakthroughs is a little-known secret. Doctors, activists, celebrities who are touting these drugs are often quietly being paid by the pharmaceutical giant behind them. When you see physicians and public health experts quoted in articles for something controversial like these medications, you would hope that they're objective observers, right? Being asked about their expertise. But according to a new report by investigative independent journalist Li Fang, who will join us in just a moment, that often isn't the case. Here's an example. The Washington Post and Washington Examiner quoted Dr. Angela Fitch of the Obesity Medicine Association. She calls for insurance companies to pay for Ozempic, even stating, quote, "This really is a pivotal moment in the treatment of obesity." But neither publication discloses that Novo Nordisk, the pharmaceutical giant behind them, apparently pays Fitch as a consultant. And that's not disclosed in the article. And earlier this year, NBC News reported on the shift in conversation around these weight loss medications. The article quoted the Obesity Action Coalition Group, as well as Rebecca Poole, Deputy Director of the University of Connecticut's Rudd Center for Food Policy and Health. Sounds like a good resume, right? She spoke about the stigma around the drug and weight and bias impacting doctors prescribing it. Again, they didn't mention that according to Fang, Poole is a recent consultant for Novo Nordisk, and that the Obesity Action Center receives more than $500,000 per year from the company. Same thing applies to celebrities. When outlets interview Queen Latifah about obesity and the drugs, shouldn't they mention she's a paid spokesperson? Now, Novo Nordisk is doing a big media blitz as of April. The Danish drug maker, which as you can tell I've had a hard time pronouncing its name, has already spent some $884 million, almost $1 billion, on American television promoting Ozempic and Wegovy. More than 44% of adults in America suffer from obesity. So the company clearly sees dollar signs when they hear a stat like that. And the pharmaceutical giant is leaning into it, reportedly spending millions wining and dining American doctors in 2022, a drop in the bucket compared to their budget. And it's working. The company's valuation soared this year to about $420 billion. And the weight loss drug market could reach $71 billion in 10 years, according to J.P. Morgan Chase. And I have nothing against these drugs. I honestly don't know enough about them to have an informed opinion. But don't we deserve to know when doctors, celebrities, patient advocacy groups are talking about the drugs, that they're being paid? Joining me now is Li Fang, the investigative reporter who published the piece Behind Ozempic Media Buzz Undisclosed Drug Maker Money on Substack, LiFang.com. Li, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Now, it seems to me that the blame here, and you correct me if I'm wrong, should be more on the media for not asking the question.
You know, that's right, and I was disappointed when I reached out to every single media outlet that I named in the piece for comment. not a single outlet, USA Today, ABC News, and many others, got back to me with a clear explanation here. A few of the media outlets asked for more information about what type of story I was writing, but they ultimately declined to provide a response. In medicine, there is a basic kind of standard of ethics. Pretty much every medical journal has gone through many controversies and instituted new standards in the last 2 decades, where if you are a medical professional and you're writing a journal article about a certain drug or about any kind of health topic, there's a minimum level of disclosure, conflict of interest disclosure, that has to be included in those medical journals. But these standards don't apply for the media. So again, this comes back, as you mentioned, to the media outlets, to these reporters. And, it's tough being a journalist. Oftentimes you have sources and experts trying to conceal their conflicts of interest. But many of these conflicts were available to me for me to find. Why didn't these media outlets point them out?
What sparked your interest in this? Is there something that made you say there's something fishy going on here?
Well, look, I cover a range of topics. Healthcare is one of them. I've seen a similar dynamic play out with other blockbuster drugs.
Okay.
We've seen reporting around Roche, lobbying the Bush administration to buy $1 billion of Tamiflu back in 2006, when the scientific evidence didn't really support that kind of demand. We've seen these reports around Purdue Pharma manipulating the media and patient advocacy groups to coerce doctors to overprescribe OxyContin and other dangerous opioids. You see a similar dynamic with some of the vaccine debates. And so this blockbuster drug, this class of drugs, these GLP drugs, interests me. I just started digging into the story.
Does your reporting indicate that the drugs are dangerous? I've only got a few minutes. I know that you probably got a 10-minute answer on that. But what is your reporting? Summarize it for us on that.
There's great promise to these drugs. It could be a real benefit to people struggling with diabetes. For weight loss, there are big questions unanswered around addiction issues. People who have body image issues, if they have long-term effect. Some people are reporting stomach paralysis issues. Like any serious medical intervention, there are pros and cons.
Yeah. Lee Fong, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
That does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Dan Phil starts now.
Hello, and it is great to have you here on this Wednesday. I don't usually report on a court proceeding that is under 2 minutes. That's kind of one of my rules. But today I'm gonna. Because it's not any court case. It is not any court case. It is possibly the killer of Tupac Shakur. Because Dwayne Keefany Davis was marched into a courtroom clang with his shackles. And it was all of about 90 seconds. If you include the 30 seconds of the march, it was about 2 minutes. So why was it so short? What was said? And that's not even the biggest headline in this case today. No, the biggest headline is what the potential star witness in the case against him is saying. It's one of his gang rivals, right? So you would think, well, it's going to be big, what Suge Knight says. Turns out no. There may be a bigger case of the Code of Omerta in gangsta warfare than mob warfare. Suge Knight, not saying ooh. And guess what? We have him saying it. You're going to hear the interview coming up in a moment with Suge Knight from prison about being the potential star witness in the case against Keefe D. Are we ever going to solve the case against Tupac? Mark Aragos is going to weigh in on this too, because I'm now really unsure. I know that the suspect said it. I know he said it to the media. Saying it to the media is not saying it under oath. Or to the police. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. And then also, this one is another case that continues to defy the norm. The case of JonBenet Ramsey. Do you remember, and I know you do, when that very strange fella named John Mark Carr just decided to come forward and confess to the murder? And they hauled him in from Thailand, and they put him in a jumpsuit, and they put him through the paces, only to let him go, say he's crazy. He's crazy. Well, maybe not. Because right now, we've got an exclusive report tonight that says they are taking a very good look at John Mark Carr. And when I say that, I don't just mean with their eyes. I mean with brand new science. They think it's important enough to get his DNA to 2023 science. I'll tell you all about it in a moment and interview the reporter who has the exclusive report on what's happening with the investigation into an old suspect who's being seen in a new light. All right, then, I have always wondered, what happens when inmates are itty-bitty or super big, right? Do they actually, give them a different kind of accommodation? I get pretty mad when I'm on an airplane seat and, I'm kind of average and I feel squashed. But then my husband's next door and he's over 6 feet and he, basically can't feel his knees for the rest of his life. That's just us flying for a few hours. That's not sitting in a jail cell for months, maybe years. And tonight we have exclusive information on what the Long Island serial killer suspect is dealing with in his cell. That fella right there is 6'4", 280. So how big do you think his cell is? Better yet, how big do you think his bed is? You're going to have the whole inside look, exclusive video inside the cell where he is being kept and the conditions he's in, what he gets to do every day, and who has visited and who hasn't. That's all coming up in a moment. Two things are rare in this business. And I can say that because I'm at it for 35 years now. Two things are rare. Being able to watch a court proceeding in a case 27 years after the crime. That's rare. And then the other really rare thing is being able to watch a case where one infamous gangsta is, pitted against another infamous gangsta from rival gangs. We don't get to see that very much. This is the stuff of movies, folks. And now it's actually true crime.